Huawei is very dangerous.
Rarely does a country go to war with a private company.
We have met the enemy, and it is Huawei.
We're not going to do business with Huawei.
Huawei represents a national security risk.
But is this really about Huawei, or is it something bigger than?
In a world dominated by Bluetooth for over 2 decades, a technological revolution is quietly unfolding that could make those frustrating, connecting messages a thing of the past. Deep within Huawei's research labs, engineers have developed a wireless technology so powerful it makes Bluetooth look like a relic from the digital Stone Age. With connection speeds faster than the blink of an eye and a range that extends the length of a football field, Nearlink isn't just an upgrade. It's a complete reimagining of how our devices communicate. We've been stuck in the Bluetooth paradigm for so long that we've forgotten what truly seamless connectivity feels like, notes Dr. Chen, a wireless communications expert. What Huawei has achieved with Nearlink is akin to replacing a dirt road with a superhighway. Think about your last frustrating Bluetooth experience. Maybe it was your wireless earbuds dropping connection during your morning run, or that maddening delay when gaming on your phone, or perhaps watching your battery percentage plummet just from keeping Bluetooth enabled. These aren't just minor inconveniences. They're fundamental flaws that have plagued wireless technology for years. But here's where things get interesting. While most of us were grudgingly accepting these limitations as unavoidable facts of wireless life, Huawei's engineers were asking a different question. What if we could start over? What if we could build a wireless protocol that doesn't just improve on Bluetooth's weaknesses, but eliminates them entirely? The result is nothing short of revolutionary. Nearlink operates on an entirely different frequency band than Bluetooth's crowded 2.4 GHz spectrum, one that's far less susceptible to interference from other devices. This means no more mysterious disconnections when you walk into a crowded coffee shop or through a busy office. The technology demonstrates connection speeds of around 20 milliseconds, so fast that your brain can't even perceive the delay. What Huawei has accomplished here isn't just an incremental improvement. This is the kind of leap forward that happens once in a generation. Nearlink isn't competing with Bluetooth, it's making it obsolete. But the real game changer lies in Nearlink's range and power efficiency. While Bluetooth struggles to maintain a stable connection beyond 30 feet, Nearlink can maintain crystal clear communication up to 100 meters away. Imagine being able to leave your phone charging upstairs while your wireless earbuds continue playing perfectly as you move around your entire house. That's the reality Nearlink promises. The implications extend far beyond just personal convenience. Recent certification of Huawei's GAEA2 PLM21 router and HDGP NH1 gamepad signals that this technology is ready for prime time. These aren't just prototypes or proof of concepts, they're finished products poised to hit the market. The gaming industry will be transformed by this, explains gaming technology analyst Jennifer Wu. When you're playing competitively, every millisecond of lag can mean the difference between victory and defeat. Nearlink's near-zero latency could make wireless controllers perform just as responsively as wired ones for the first time ever. But perhaps most impressive is Nearlink's solution to the eternal battery life problem. Through sophisticated power management and more efficient data transmission, the technology uses significantly less energy than Bluetooth. Early testing suggests devices using Nearlink could see their battery life extended by hours compared to traditional Bluetooth connections. The security implications are equally compelling. In an age where wireless data theft is increasingly common, Nearlink incorporates advanced encryption and authentication protocols that make it substantially more secure than Bluetooth. This isn't just about protecting your music playlist. It's about securing sensitive data in an increasingly connected world. In terms of security architecture, Nearlink represents a fundamental shift in how we think about wireless data protection, notes cybersecurity researcher Dr. James Morrison. The encryption protocols aren't just stronger, they're designed from the ground up for a world where every device is a potential target. The technology's versatility is demonstrated in its ability to handle multiple simultaneous connections without degradation in performance. While Bluetooth often struggles when trying to connect multiple devices, Nearlink can maintain stable connections with numerous devices at once. Imagine seamlessly streaming different audio to multiple speakers throughout your home, or connecting several gaming controllers to a single console with zero lag, all while using less power than a single traditional Bluetooth connection. But the real story of Nearlink isn't just about technical specifications. It's about the geopolitical chess game reshaping our technological future. As Western nations grapple with concerns over Chinese technology, Huawei is quietly building an alternative wireless ecosystem that could fundamentally alter the global tech landscape. The implications became crystal clear when Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro proudly displayed the Huawei Mate X6 smartphone, declaring it the most advanced phone in the world at the moment. This wasn't just a product endorsement, it was a signal that emerging markets are ready to embrace Chinese technological innovation, with or without Western approval. We're witnessing a profound shift in the global technology order, explains international technology policy expert Dr. Maria Gonzalez. For decades, Western standards like Bluetooth have dominated wireless communications. Nearlink represents the first serious challenge to that dominance, and it's coming at a crucial moment in history. The timing couldn't be more significant. As trade restrictions and semiconductor sanctions continue to squeeze Huawei's traditional business models, the company has doubled down on innovation. Nearlink isn't just a better wireless protocol, it's a declaration of technological independence. But what does this mean for consumers? The answer lies in the emerging ecosystem of Nearlink-enabled devices. The certification of Huawei's GAEA2 PLM21 router isn't just about faster home internet. It's about creating a hub for a new generation of smart devices that can communicate seamlessly across unprecedented distances. Think of it as the difference between a crowded highway and a magnetic levitation train, says consumer technology analyst Richard Wong. While Bluetooth devices fight for bandwidth in the congested 2.4 GHz spectrum, Nearlink operates in its own lane, free from interference and traffic jams. This technological leap forward has profound implications for the Internet of Things, IoT. Imagine sensors that can monitor an entire factory floor without requiring multiple repeaters, or smart home devices that maintain rock-solid connections regardless of walls or distance. The power efficiency gains alone could revolutionize how we think about wireless device deployment. The gaming industry is particularly poised for disruption. With the certification of the HDGP NH1 gamepad, Huawei is targeting one of Bluetooth's most vulnerable markets. Professional gamers have long avoided wireless controllers due to latency concerns, but Nearlink's 20-millisecond connection speed changes that calculation entirely. But perhaps the most intriguing aspect of Nearlink's emergence is its potential impact on global technology standards. For decades, Western companies have set the pace for wireless innovation. Now, for the first time, a Chinese company is poised to leapfrog existing standards with something demonstrably superior. This shift hasn't gone unnoticed in diplomatic circles. As more countries align themselves with Chinese technology standards, the global digital landscape is increasingly fracturing along geopolitical lines. Nearlink could accelerate this trend, creating two distinct wireless ecosystems, one centered on traditional Western standards and another built around Chinese innovation. We're entering an era of technological multipolarity, observes Dr. Thomas Reed, an expert in international technology policy. Nearlink isn't just challenging Bluetooth's technical supremacy, it's challenging the very notion that global technology standards must originate from Western companies. For consumers, this technological divide could manifest in unexpected ways. Imagine walking into an electronics store and having to choose not just between different brands, but between entirely different wireless ecosystems. Your choice of earbuds or gaming controller could depend as much on geopolitics as on technical specifications. Yet despite these broader implications, Huawei's focus remains squarely on technical innovation. The company's engineers are already exploring applications beyond consumer electronics. The technology's combination of range, speed, and power efficiency makes it ideal for industrial automation, medical devices, and smart city infrastructure. As Nearlink-enabled devices prepare to hit the market, the wireless technology landscape stands at a crossroads. Will this Chinese innovation reshape global connectivity standards, or will geopolitical tensions limit its adoption to specific regions and markets? The answer may determine not just how our devices communicate, but the future of global technological development itself.
Huawei is very dangerous.
Rarely does a country go to war with a private company.
We have met the enemy, and it is Huawei.
We're not going to do business with Huawei.
Huawei represents a national security risk.
But is this really about Huawei, or is it something bigger than
900 million devices. That's how many gadgets now run on an operating system that didn't even exist 5 years ago. While most of the world was betting on Huawei's collapse after losing Google, something extraordinary happened instead. The Chinese tech giant didn't just survive being cut off from Android and Google services, they built an entirely new digital universe that's now threatening to reshape the global technology landscape. Picture this. You wake up tomorrow, and every Google service vanishes from your phone. No Gmail, no YouTube, no Google Maps, no Play Store. For most of us, that would be a digital catastrophe. But for nearly 1 billion users worldwide, that's exactly the reality they're embracing, and they're not looking back. The story begins in May 2019, when the Trump administration dropped what many called a nuclear bomb on Huawei. Overnight, the company lost access to Google's Android operating system and all its services. Tech analysts worldwide wrote Huawei's obituary. They'll be dead within 2 years, proclaimed one prominent Silicon Valley investor. No company can survive without Google's ecosystem, declared another. They were all wrong. What happened next defied every prediction. Instead of crumbling, Huawei did something that seemed impossible. They built their own operating system from scratch. Not just a cheap Android knockoff, but a completely new platform designed to work seamlessly across phones, tablets, watches, TVs, and even cars. They called it Harmony OS, and by early 2025, it's become the fastest-growing operating system in tech history. The numbers are staggering. In 2024 alone, Huawei's revenue surged past 860 billion yuan. That's over $118 billion, marking a 22% jump from the previous year. This isn't just recovery, it's the company's fastest growth rate in nearly a decade. In China's smartphone market, Huawei rocketed from 4th place to 2nd, with shipments exploding by 37%, while Apple's sales dropped 17% in the same period. But here's where it gets really interesting. The latest version, Harmony OS 6, isn't just competing with Android. It's pioneering features that Google is scrambling to match. The system now includes advanced AI agents that can automate complex tasks without users needing any programming knowledge. Imagine telling your phone to book your entire vacation, and it handles everything from flights to restaurant reservations, learning your preferences along the way. We're not trying to copy anyone, explains Dr. Chen, a senior architect who worked on Harmony OS development. We asked ourselves a simple question. If we could redesign mobile computing from the ground up, knowing everything we know today, what would we build? The answer wasn't Android. The Mate 60 Pro smartphone became the symbol of this transformation. When it launched in 2023, Western experts were stunned. Despite sanctions blocking access to advanced chip-making technology, Huawei had somehow created a phone with 5G-like speeds using their homegrown Kirin 9100 processor. Sales exploded so quickly that stores couldn't keep them in stock. Young Chinese professionals started calling it the Patriot phone, a device that proved China didn't need Western technology to innovate. This momentum accelerated with the Mate 70 series. These aren't just phones. They're showcases of what's possible when a company is forced to reimagine everything. The devices feature 100-watt fast charging that can power up a dead battery in minutes, foldable screens that feel like magic, and AI capabilities that make Siri look ancient. Most remarkably, they often cost less than comparable Google Pixel or Samsung devices. The ecosystem extends far beyond smartphones. In May 2025, Huawei dropped another bombshell: laptops running Harmony OS. The MateBook Fold features an 18-inch OLED screen that folds like a book, with no physical keyboard needed. The MateBook Pro maintains a traditional design, but runs entirely on Huawei's software, marking the company's direct challenge to Windows and Mac OS. What we're witnessing is unprecedented in tech history, notes technology strategist Maria Rodriguez from her office in Barcelona. A company completely cut off from the Western tech stack, not only surviving but building something that millions of people actually prefer. It's forcing us to reconsider everything we thought we knew about technology monopolies. The app situation tells another remarkable story. When Google Play became unavailable, pessimists predicted users would abandon Huawei phones in droves. Instead, Huawei's app gallery now serves 580 million monthly active users. Major developers are racing to ensure their apps work perfectly on Harmony OS. With over 50 AI-powered applications from partners like Weibo and Ximalaya already integrated into the system. But perhaps the most significant development is happening in cloud computing and artificial intelligence. Huawei unveiled their Pangu 5.5 AI models, specifically designed for industrial applications in medicine, finance, and manufacturing. Their Cloud Matrix 384 infrastructure features 384 Ascend neural processing units working in Harmony, a setup that rivals anything from Google or Amazon. The implications ripple far beyond consumer gadgets. Businesses across Asia are increasingly choosing Huawei's cloud services over Western alternatives, citing better local support, competitive pricing, and crucially, data that stays within their borders. For companies worried about US surveillance or sudden sanctions, Huawei offers something Google cannot: independence from American political decisions. The sanctions didn't just push Huawei to create alternatives. They forced the company to fundamentally rethink how technology should work. Take their latest breakthrough, a revolutionary approach to device interconnection that makes Apple's ecosystem look closed off by comparison. With Harmony OS, your phone can instantly become your laptop's touchpad, your tablet transforms into a second monitor, and your smartwatch controls your TV, all without any setup or configuration. This seamless integration caught Silicon Valley completely off guard. We spent years telling ourselves that our walled gardens were features, not limitations, admits a former Google executive who requested anonymity. Huawei proved that when you design an ecosystem from scratch in 2025, you don't need those walls at all. The geopolitical tremors from Huawei's resurgence extend far beyond technology circles. When the European Union announced in March 2025 that it was considering Harmony OS devices for government procurement contracts, Washington's response was swift and telling. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken called it a fundamental threat to transatlantic digital security, while Beijing celebrated what they termed the inevitable recognition of technological sovereignty. The shift becomes even more pronounced when you examine the numbers flowing out of Southeast Asia. In Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand, Harmony OS adoption rates jumped 340% in the first quarter of 2025. Local telecommunications companies report that customers actively request Huawei devices, not despite the Google restrictions, but because of the privacy implications they represent. This preference for digital independence is reshaping entire markets. Vietnam's largest electronics retailer, FPT Shop, reports that 60% of their premium smartphone sales now come from Harmony OS devices. The Philippines followed suit when their Department of Information and Communications Technology announced pilot programs using Huawei's cloud infrastructure for government services, citing cost savings of nearly 40% compared to Amazon Web Services. The automotive industry presents perhaps the most dramatic example of Huawei's expanding influence. Their collaboration with Chinese automaker Chery resulted in the Luxeed S7, an electric sedan where Harmony OS controls everything from navigation to climate systems. The vehicle's AI can predict traffic patterns, automatically adjust suspension based on road conditions, and even communicate with smart city infrastructure to optimize routes in real time. Sales exceeded 150,000 units in its first 6 months, with waiting lists stretching into 2026. Traditional car companies are panicking, observes automotive analyst Dr. James Morrison from his research facility in Detroit. Tesla spent years building their software advantage, and suddenly Chinese manufacturers with Harmony OS are delivering features that make Tesla look outdated. The integration is so seamless that driving anything else feels primitive. The education sector reveals another dimension of this technological transformation. Universities across Africa and Latin America are implementing Harmony OS-based learning systems that cost 70% less than equivalent Western solutions. In Kenya, the University of Nairobi deployed Huawei's education cloud platform to serve 84,000 students remotely. Professor Grace Munyua, who oversaw the implementation, notes that students can access the same computational resources whether they're in Nairobi or rural villages. That level of democratization simply wasn't possible with previous systems. Healthcare applications showcase Harmony OS's most profound impact. Huawei's medical AI, running on their proprietary chips, can analyze CT scans 300% faster than comparable Western systems. Rural hospitals in Brazil are using Harmony OS tablets connected to Huawei's cloud infrastructure to provide diagnostic services that previously required trips to major cities. Dr. Carlos Mendoza from São Paulo's Hospital das Clínicas reports that patients receive expert-level diagnostic recommendations within minutes, regardless of their location. The system learns from every case, becoming more accurate with each diagnosis. The response from Silicon Valley has been increasingly desperate. Google announced Project Unity in late 2024, attempting to rebuild Android's global appeal with enhanced AI features and cross-device integration. Apple accelerated their services expansion into emerging markets, offering significant discounts and local payment options. Amazon Web Services launched aggressive pricing campaigns targeting the exact regions where Huawei's cloud services were gaining traction.
Huawei is very dangerous.
Rarely does a country go to war with a private company.
We have met the enemy, and it is Huawei.
We're not going to do business with Huawei.
Huawei represents a national security risk.
But is this really about Huawei, or is it something bigger than
Reports this morning that Chinese tech company Huawei is ramping up to test its newest and most powerful AI chip, which would be a competitor to chips made by NVIDIA. Christina Partsinevel is here with that story to evaluate the threat. Hi, Christina.
The satellite images were unmistakable. Deep in Shenzhen's Guanlan district, construction crews worked around the clock, erecting massive structures that would soon house some of the world's most advanced semiconductor manufacturing equipment. This wasn't just another factory. It was Huawei's declaration of technological independence, and it was happening right under the nose of American sanctions. The discovery sent shockwaves through Washington. For years, U.S. policymakers had believed that cutting Huawei off from advanced chip technology would cripple the Chinese tech giant. Instead, they were watching the birth of something unprecedented, a complete semiconductor ecosystem built from scratch, designed to challenge the very foundations of American technological dominance. Inside the sprawling complex, 3 interconnected facilities were taking shape. The centerpiece was Huawei's own manufacturing plant, where engineers were preparing to produce 7-nanometer chips, the kind of advanced processors that power modern smartphones and artificial intelligence systems. This wasn't supposed to be possible. When the U.S. blocked Huawei's access to Taiwan's TSMC and other foreign chip manufacturers, experts predicted it would take China at least a decade to catch up. They were wrong. What we're witnessing is nothing short of a technological miracle, observed Dr. James Chen, a semiconductor industry veteran who spent 20 years at Intel before becoming an independent analyst. Huawei has compressed what should have been 15 years of development into less than 3. The implications are staggering. The numbers backed up his assessment. By early 2025, Huawei had already achieved a 40% production yield on its Ascend 910C AI processors, nearly double what they managed just 12 months earlier. This wasn't just incremental progress. It was a quantum leap that put profitable mass production within reach. The company was planning to manufacture 100,000 units within the year, each one a testament to China's growing technological prowess. But Huawei wasn't working alone. Adjacent to their main facility, two strategic partners were setting up shop. SkyCarrier, a company that emerged from Huawei's own research laboratories, was installing equipment to produce deep ultraviolet lithography machines, the complex tools needed to etch circuits onto silicon wafers. Next door, ShuiSure was preparing to manufacture memory chips that would feed directly into Huawei's supply chain. The arrangement was clever, perhaps too clever. Officially, these were independent companies. In reality, industry insiders knew better. Personnel moved freely between the facilities. Technology was shared. Funding flowed from the same government-backed investment vehicles. It was a shell game designed to circumvent sanctions while building a fully integrated semiconductor supply chain. The Americans thought they could strangle us with sanctions, a senior Huawei engineer confided during an industry conference in Shanghai. Instead, they forced us to innovate. Every restriction became a motivation. Every closed door pushed us to build our own. The scale of Huawei's ambition became even clearer when satellite imagery revealed another massive construction project near Shanghai. Here, the company was investing $1.66 billion in a research and development center that would span an area equivalent to 224 football fields. With capacity for 35,000 personnel, it would become one of the largest technology research facilities on the planet. This wasn't just about catching up anymore. Huawei was positioning itself to leapfrog the competition entirely. The Cloud Matrix 384, their latest AI chip cluster, integrated 384 Ascend processors using cutting-edge optical technology. Performance tests showed it outpaced NVIDIA's comparable systems by 67%, while offering triple the memory capacity. Yes, it consumed more power and the software wasn't as mature, but for Chinese companies cut off from NVIDIA's products, it offered something priceless, an alternative. The ripple effects were already visible across China's tech sector. Since 2019, Huawei's investment arm, Hubble, had poured money into over 60 semiconductor companies. From carbon nanotube wafer specialists to packaging material producers, they were methodically building every link in the supply chain. Each investment was a brick in the wall of technological self-sufficiency. People don't understand the psychology at play here, explained Professor Liu Wei from Tsinghua University's School of Integrated Circuits. For decades, China accepted its role as the world's factory, assembling products designed elsewhere. The sanctions changed everything. They transformed semiconductor independence from an economic goal into a matter of national pride. The transformation was remarkable. Where once Chinese companies competed for access to foreign technology, they now race to develop domestic alternatives. SMIC, China's largest chip manufacturer, worked hand-in-hand with Huawei to refine production processes. SMI provided engineering support. Dozens of smaller firms contributed specialized components and materials. Yet challenges remained formidable. The U.S. government, recognizing the threat, had already added SkyCarrier and ShuiSure to its entity list, citing concerns about military applications. This move blocked American companies from supplying any technology to these firms, forcing them to source everything from Europe, Japan, or domestically. More critically, semiconductor manufacturing remained one of the most complex industrial processes ever devised. A single advanced chip required hundreds of steps, each demanding extraordinary precision. One industry joke held that there were only 3 things in the universe that required nanometer-level accuracy: semiconductor manufacturing, DNA replication, and the ego of a semiconductor CEO. Huawei's relative inexperience showed in subtle ways. Their chips, while functional, consumed more power than comparable Western designs. Software optimization lagged behind hardware development. The ecosystem, impressive as it was, still had gaps that would take years to fill. But perhaps the most significant impact wasn't technological, it was psychological. For decades, the global semiconductor industry had operated on the assumption that no single country could build a complete supply chain. The costs were too high, the expertise too specialized, the equipment too complex. Huawei was proving that assumption wrong, and in doing so, reshaping how nations thought about technological sovereignty. We're entering a new era, predicted Sarah Martinez, a supply chain expert who advised Fortune 500 companies on semiconductor strategy. The old model of global specialization is breaking down. Countries are realizing that in critical technologies, independence matters more than efficiency. The evidence was mounting daily. European nations were launching their own chip initiatives. India was courting semiconductor manufacturers with massive subsidies. Even small countries were wondering if they needed domestic chip production capabilities. The age of technological interdependence was giving way to an era of strategic autonomy. The implications rippled far beyond China's borders as intelligence agencies in Washington began piecing together the true scope of what they were witnessing.